Well, well, well. Well, 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 well. Well, 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 welcome to today's episode of Star Wars Nerds and Geeks. So, this episode's a very big secret. I'm gonna reveal what it is in just a minute. It's a super big secret. Well, I guess it's not a secret to anyone who's read the title, but, it's a secret to me. I haven't read the title myself. But for those of you who actually have read the title, you're probably thinking, what? No, it's all a bunch of nonsense. Well, it's actually not, and oh gosh, that title. Kind of unbelievable. Hello there, a Star Wars story. Well, I hope that it has that title. That would be an amazing thing. I don't believe it's going to have the title Hello There, a Star Wars story. Also, it is not going to be a Star Wars story. It is actually going to end up being a TV series like The Mandalorian. But in today's episode, I'm going to talk about everything that I know about Hello There, a Star Wars story, as I'm going to call it, and everything that I hope and or think will be happening on the television series. So first, a disclaimer. All information that I speak about in this video that I treat as fact is subject to change. Nothing is set in stone yet. So I'm going to read this excerpt from Wikipedia where it talks about Hello There, a Star Wars story. The actual page is called Untitled Obi Wan Kenobi television series. A live-action television series is currently being developed by Lucasfilm. It is set to air on Disney's new online streaming service, Disney+. The series will feature Ewan Mcgregor reprising his role as Obi Wan Kenobi from the Star Wars prequel trilogy. It will take place 8 years after Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So 8 years after Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Episode 4 happens 19 years after Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So this is like right smack dab in the middle, right in between Episode 3 and Episode 4. Now, of course, the question on all of your minds is, when is this going to be released? Well, as you'd expect, there's no confirmed date. It's not set in stone. But according to an April 2020 French press release, the series is scheduled to debut in 2022, which is 2 years from now, so that's pretty soon. So what else do we know about this? Well, honestly, not much. One thing that we know, and this is just a fact, is that Ewan McGregor is now he's almost in his 50s, which means he's much closer to the age that Alec Guinness was when he played Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 4, which means he is more, he's going to look more like him, and I'm going to assume that he's going to act more like him, instead of like the action-filled Jedi Knight. We're going to see more of the wise Jedi Master side of him. Anything else that we know? Well, it was originally going to be a movie, but it was changed to become a television series. Why is this important, you might ask? Well, I feel like one reason they might have done this is because when Solo, a Star Wars story was released, that was a backstory film, a movie. It did not receive the attention that Disney was wanting or expecting. Then, when the Mandalorian television series was released, that got a whole lot of love. Was that because of Baby Yoda? Yeah, probably. But I mean, a television series can do a lot more than a movie can. So they're probably thinking that they can spend more money on a television series to get more money back because more people will want to watch it because it's better. So the difference between a television series and a movie, well, a television series has the chance to get more money if it's done right, especially since the latest non-saga film solo Star Wars story did not do very well. But another thing that a television series does that a movie can't is a movie, the longest movie I've ever seen was 3 hours long. And that's a very long movie. Nobody wants to sit through a 3 hour long movie unless it's really, really good. Most movies are about 2 hours, I think. Star Wars movies generally get closer to 2.5. But compared to a television series, that's not a lot of time. That's 2.5 hours, let's say, to introduce your characters, to build your plot, and to resolve the plot. Again, not a lot of time. However, in a television series, they're able to break it up into 40-minute segments if they do it like The Mandalorian, or maybe 20-minute segments, though I believe 40 minutes is more likely. But 40-minute segments, if it goes on to, let's say it goes on to about 13 episodes, 13 times 40 is 520. That's 520 minutes of footage, which is 8 and 2/3 hours. So 8 and 2/3 hours, that is 3.5 movies worth. So as you can see, you can get a lot more story with a television series as opposed to a movie. So I believe that is also part of the reason why they chose a television series. Also, that's good for us because that means that they are going to be going more into depth about what happened to Obi Wan Kenobi on Tatooine. However, I'm afraid that's all we know for a fact. So now we get to head into the realm of speculation. And I have a few ideas of my own, but luckily for me, this job has been made easier. There is a book, Legends book now, but there was a book published called Kenobi, which talks about Obi-Wan Kenobi and his life on Tatooine in between episode 3 and 4. So I'm going to be pulling stuff from there to see if those things, and talk about if I think those will happen in this series. Of course, spoiler warning if any of you are wanting to read the Kenobi book. So what happens in this series? Well, the gist of it is essentially Obi-Wan Kenobi wants to live a secluded life on his own, but he's constantly having to go into town to get stuff that he needs, which is making him more known in the town, and he becomes a more prominent figure, which is everything that he's trying to avoid. So kind of the big part of the book is him just trying to become a secluded hermit again. This, I think, could be plausible for happening in the TV series. It's logical because Kenobi, when he first went to Tatooine, he just wanted nobody to know about him. But I mean, he's never lived on Tatooine before, so he has to learn from the locals, and so therefore the locals will know him. So then what he does is he decides to put on a crazy Ben aroma that Luke always talks about. He calls him Old Ben, so he's, the crazy hermit that lives out in the Dune Sea. So I feel like that could be a logical plot for the story. However, that would just be an overarching plot for the entire series as a whole. That's not really a plot that you would go episode by episode, season by season. So let's talk about some other plot points that happened in the series. First, Obi-Wan Kenobi saves this girl because, he's a Jedi. That's what Jedis do. They save people. So he saves this girl and she becomes in awe of him. And Obi-Wan ends up becoming entangled with their family. Something like that, I also feel, is a pretty good assumption for something that's going to happen in the series. Obi-Wan Kenobi, being a Jedi, won't be able to stand idly by and let other people get hurt where he knows that he could do something. I mean, you see this in episode 4 when he ignites his lightsaber and protects Luke. He could have Yeah, I mean, he should save Luke. That's the whole point of the movie, is Luke being alive. But Obi Wan can't stand by and let others be hurt. So he probably won't use his lightsaber. That's a dead giveaway that he's a Jedi. He'd probably conceal his lightsaber away. During the series, you're probably only going to see him using. You're probably not going to see him using anything because blasters aren't civilized, as you know, and he doesn't like a lightsaber, and he doesn't want to use a lightsaber. So I do think that it's likely that he'll be saving people, and I feel like that is going to be the thing that escalates the series, is when he saves somebody. That'll lead to a tumbling of events where he traps himself into a hole that he has to climb out of, figuratively speaking, of course. So one thing that happens in the book is we get to actually read parts of the book from a Tusken Raider's perspective, which is one of my favorite parts of the book. We get to see how a Tusken Raider views the world and why they do stuff, and I really loved that. It was really fascinating. And so another part of the series, it all ties together, but another plot point is Obi-Wan has to settle a rivalry between this Tusken Raiders gang, clan type thing, and the settlers that he lives around. And that I think two things about this. One, Tusken Raiders have been kind of villainized in Star Wars, so I feel like there's a chance make they won't show Tusken Raiders in a good light by showing their perspective. On the other hand, I think that it's really fascinating to see from Tusken Raiders' perspective, and I feel like this is something that Disney's been doing, that is taking things from different people's perspectives and showing you how they see the world too, so that you don't see everything from a one-sided view, like everybody on the rebellion is good and everybody else is bad. They've been trying to show you that there's different sides and that there's different perspectives, and that's not all one-sided. And as much as I'd like that to happen, I really don't think that's gonna happen. But what else? Well, that's about it from the book that I can pull. The book is really fascinating, and I say this about all Legends books I read, but I really liked it, and I'd say it's an interesting story, especially for those of you who like Obi Wan Kenobi. But now we get into my personal speculation. What I think would happen, because I originally had thought that the Obi-Wan Kenobi series or movie would be about his life before episode 1, because or his life before episode 1 and in between episode 1 and 2. From the Clone Wars TV series, we know what it's like between 2 and 3. And between episode 3 and 4, I would think that you'd have to make stuff up to make it interesting. I feel like that would be something that's just boring in general. But when I read the Kenobi book, that just proved it. But anyways, I'd really like to see what it was like Obi-Wan being a youngling and what it was like for him between episodes 1 and 2 as he starts to struggle to train Anakin Skywalker. And maybe with that we can see some of the references. We can put an image and a story to all the references that they make in episode 2, Anakin and Obi-Wan at the beginning. But anyways, that we now know is not going to happen. We aren't going to be seeing a movie about young Obi-Wan. We're seeing a movie about old Obi-Wan. However, I do think we could still see, TV series. But anyways, I do think that we could still see Obi-Wan's his young life. Why is that? Well, because I think that a really good way to pass time during the movies, or during the television series, I'm sorry, I keep calling it a movie, but a good way to pass time during it, especially during boring parts or to fill in backstory, would be to go back in flashbacks and show his life from a youngling all the way up to a little bit before episode 2. And so maybe throughout the whole series we get to learn about his early life while building up this series. And I'm getting this idea from a television show called Lost that premiered in the early 2000s. I believe in 2001, but I'm not sure about that. But the television series Lost had a lot of stuff about that. Every single episode, most of the episode is talking about the survivors on the island, but a good portion of the episode is flashing back to different people's lives and showing you their backstory. So that by the time you finish the show, you get to learn all of these characters' backstories, and they fit each backstory that they show with what's going on with the series, which I think is really fascinating. Also, I don't know who's directing the Obi Wan Kenobi series, but J.J. Abrams directed Lost, and as we know, he has also directed episode 7 and 9, so maybe he has a little bit of influence, and maybe he'll have a part of a say in the Obi Wan Kenobi series, so maybe there's a chance we'll learn about Obi Wan Kenobi's background. However, currently, that is all the ideas I have for this series. I'm really excited for when it's going to show up, and it's going to be a little while, but not as long as I had once thought. But yes, I'm really excited for this series. I can't wait to see what's going to show up, and I want you guys to tell me what you thought about these ideas, as well as put some ideas and speculations that you have for the series in the comments. Well, I'm working on 3 videos at the exact same time right now, which is really crazy. I never thought I'd be doing this, but it gives me the ability to start publishing on like a weekly or a bi-weekly basis, as opposed to just whenever I have the time, because now I can pre-record and pre-upload, so on weeks that I'm not able to upload, there's already a video that's coming out. But anyways, hopefully that helps everything out. And for this video, that's about all I've got. Hello there, a Star Wars story. Gonna be coming out 2022, hopefully. Really excited for that. But, as always, this is Star Wars Nerds and Geeks signing off. See you all next time.